Who is the Black Krrsantan? The Black Krrsantan is one of the most ruthless bounty hunters in the Star Wars galaxy. Boba Fett himself has also gone on record to say that the Wookiee was one of Jabba's greatest bounty hunters. The story of the Black Krrsantan began unlike his other fellow Wookiees. He was forced to flee his homeworld of Kashyyyk after disgracing his people. And unlike his other fellow Wookiees, he sought out the pit-fighting crime bosses, the Xonti Borthers, in order to learn how to fight. But in order for Krrsantan to get close to the Xonti Borthers, he attacked several different slaver groups in order to gain information on the whereabouts of the brothers, even using a Wookiee bleeding to death as bait to spring a trap on a group of Trandoshan slavers. As the Trandoshans led him to the Xonti Borthers, the Wookiee offered himself as a volunteer. While the brothers were certainly impressed, they nonetheless stunned him and placed him in a cage, forcing him into servitude. They would then submit the Wookiee to harsh training alongside other slaves. As the Wookiee eventually came out on top, Krrsantan became highly sought after. The Wookiee became a heavyweight champion. Sometime later, the Wookiee would enter into service of Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine, and there he would act as a bounty hunter and enforcer of the crime lord. In 10 BBY, he was ordered by the crime boss to hunt down a mysterious man who had been stopping Jabba's water tax on moisture farmers. As he headed towards the Dune Sea to the site where Jabba's men were attacked, he traveled to a nearby moisture farm, which happened to be the one owned by the Lars family. As the Wookiee took Owen Lars hostage, the mysterious figure appeared, that being none other than Kenobi himself. A fight breaks out between the two, but at this point age had taken its toll on the Jedi Master, and years of isolation meant that his combat skills were rusty. This prolonged the fight, making a much closer call than it would have been had the two met many years earlier. Nonetheless, the Jedi Master emerged victorious. Using his lightsaber, he managed to wound and almost blind the Wookiee, causing Krrsantan to fall over the edge, giving Krrsantan his signature scar. Fearing the wrath of Jabba the Hutt for his failure, the Wookiee decided to flee Tatooine, and it would be a long time before the Wookiee would be welcomed back on the planet again. Following the Battle of Yavin, Darth Vader journeyed to Tatooine to engage in negotiations with Jabba regarding supplies for the Galactic Empire. The Dark Lord would also make this a personal journey, requesting 2 bounty hunters from Jabba the Hutt. The crime lord obliged and provided his 2 best bounty hunters, Krrsantan and Boba Fett. While Fett was tasked with tracking down Luke Skywalker, Krrsantan was hired to find and capture an agent of the Emperor. The Wookiee would succeed in tracking down the Imperial agent by the name of Silo, and uncovered that the agent was moving illegal alien parts to a secret base in the Outer Rim. Bringing the agent to Vader, the Wookiee would then witness the torture of the agent at the hands of the Dark Lord. After his deal with Vader, the Wookiee was approached by none other than Dr. Aphra, an archaeologist with a love for stealing. The Wookiee was hired alongside Bosk, IG-90, and B-Box. It is here that Aphra revealed her plan for a heist against the Empire. Having extensive inside knowledge that the Empire had eliminated the criminal faction known as the Sontul Pride, the fortunes of the former criminal organization were currently in transit to the Imperial vaults. Aphra revealed that she had inside information that would allow them to locate the transport and get past the guards. In exchange, she offered a cut from the treasury. Krrsantan and Aphra would eventually double-cross the rest of the team, keeping more of the bounty for themselves without the knowledge of the rest of the team. While working for Aphra and Vader, the Wookiee would track and hunt down the crew of the Millennium Falcon on Vrogas Vas. As the crew attempted to escape, the Wookiee crashed his ship into the Millennium Falcon, forcing it back onto the ground. A melee between the 2 Wookiees ensues, but while Chewbacca was a formidable opponent, Krrsantan was forged in the death pits. Overcoming both Solo and Chewbacca, victory was assured. But at the last moment, R2 managed to manipulate a malfunctioning C-3PO and baited the Wookiee into punching the droid. This resulted in the electrocution of Krrsantan, knocking him out cold. The Wookiee would later appear in a hunt for a Dr. Aphra, now on the run from Vader following her betrayal. Krrsantan would manage to retrieve Aphra on the cosmetatic steps and brought her before the Dark Lord on his flagship, the Executor. But he would soon join forces with Aphra following an attack by Silo's forces, as Aphra owed him credits. Following the victory of Vader's forces, the Dark Lord had the traitorous Doctor ejected into space, but Krrsantan rescued her for underlying monetary reasons. Over the next couple of years, Krrsantan would work for Aphra on and off, at one point even plotted with the ambitious Doctor to assassinate Emperor Palpatine. His journeys would eventually find him in the employment of the twins. Following the death of Jabba the Hutt, the twins traveled to Tatooine in 9 ABY to lay claim on Jabba's territories. The twins would employ Krrsantan as an enforcer of their growing influence on the planet of the twin suns. This decision would eventually put him at odds with an old colleague and fellow notorious bounty hunter.